Hey, what is going on, guys? RvzStealth here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the best champions for this patch that you can play if you've mastered them. So these champions right now are the most played champions in Challenger for this patch, and if Challenger players are playing these champions and they're prioritizing them, then that means these are the best champions right now that you can climb with if you have good practice on them. So with that being said, let's get started. So starting it off in the top lane here, the three most picked top laners in this patch are AD Fizz, AD Kennen, and then Jace. So AD Fizz and AD Kennen, they saw really no play in the top lane at all in previous patches. It wasn't until these last few patches here that they've seen a rise in popularity. The main reasons to why AD Kennen is being played now over AP Kennen is because AP Kennen got nerfed pretty hard. It was a while ago. His ultimate got some pretty big nerfs to where it doesn't do a lot of upfront damage now. So by going this AD Kennen now, your lane bully potential is still there, but you also have a lot more consistent damage and your split push is a lot better with this AD Kennen. There's very few top lane champions that can actually deal with your split push because you're such a slippery champion in the sense that if they try to dive onto you, you can use your ultimate to kite back. You have the gap close, or you have the movement speed buff with your E, so it's just super hard for the enemies to actually get onto you and to outduel you, which is why this AD Kennen works really well. And then for AD Fizz in the top lane, the reason to why this works is because you rush the Trinity Force on top lane Fizz, and the damage that you get from your W once you get the mark on the opponent, and then once you pop it after those 2 seconds, the proc that you get from the Sheen as well as the extra damage from your W is just really, really good. And a lot of the times you can surprise the opponent as to how much damage that is going to do. You also can take the Ignite on this top lane Fizz as well as the teleport, so it does give you extra kill pressure in the laning phase. He's also a really easy lane to gank as well because Fizz just has a load of mobility in his kit, so he can easily bait out the opponent. If his jungler's coming in, he can just go in on the opponent. He can get the slowdown with his E, and it's very easy for his jungler to follow that up. So top lane Fizz right now is a really good pick if you can play it well. And then for Jace, there's not too much to say about this champion. He's a really good lane bully top laner. He really doesn't lose too many matchups, so being able to get ahead in the early game as Jace and being able to just bully out the enemy top laners is going to get you the advantage, and it's going to allow you to snowball the game. And then for the jungle in this patch, we're kind of going back to last season now with the meta junglers, at least in the higher elos of play. Right now, Lee Sin, Elise, and Gragas are 3 of the most picked in this patch right now, with continued nerfs to Rengar and nerfs to like Shaco and just other champions as well. These 3 junglers have started to see more of a comeback now, at least in the higher ranks. They're just very safe champions to play. They've got great early games. They have the potential to just take over a game with their strong early game, so they're just overall great champions to pick if you can play them correctly. So for the mid lane in this patch, it is being completely taken over by AP assassins. 4 of the most picked mid laners right now are LeBlanc, Kassadin, Ahri, and Fizz. So for LeBlanc right now, the recent build of the Gunblade and the Lichbane on her is doing super well for her in 7.7. The way you play LeBlanc now is so much different than the way you played her before. You want to basically use your W as a gap closer now. You use your E on the opponent. You wait for your passive to be ready to proc, you throw your Gunblade and your Q, and if you're fed as LeBlanc, just using that EQ Gunblade combo is gonna one-shot a squishy target. There's very little counterplay to LeBlanc like with this new build, and it's just so frustrating to play against if you're going up against a good LeBlanc and you're playing AD carry, because if your flash is down and she hits your E on you, then you're just gonna die instantly. Now for Kassadin, I was kind of expecting him to see a little bit of a comeback in this patch with the buffs that he did get. He's a really good pick against a lot of these AP mid lane champions. He does have the potential to take over a game with his roams and his ability to just win the 1v1 in a lot of those AP matchups. His Q does give him that magic damage shield, so as long as you can survive the early game as Kassadin, and if you're going up against a mid lane champion that does have a lot of skill shots, then you can use your ultimate to dodge them, you can jump on your opponent, and it's very easy for you to burst them down once you do get your core build of Rod of Ages and Lichbane. For Ahri right now, she's probably one of the best AP mid lane champions, or just mid lane champions in general, that you can play in this patch. She's got a 68% win rate in Challenger right now, which is really insane. It just goes to show if you can play this champion well, she's just got so much potential. The ability for you to take over a game with Ahri is probably some of the best for any champion in the game. When your ultimate is up, it's just so easy for you to outplay your opponent. If you're going up against a mid lane champion that has skill shots and they need to hit them to do damage, then at level 6, you just use your ultimate to dodge those skill shots. If you're going up against someone like an Orianna or a Lux, if the Orianna throws her ball out at you, then you just dodge around with your ultimate. The Orianna won't be able to get any damage off on you at all, and as long as you can hit your charm, then you're gonna win that 1v1 matchup 99% of the time. You also have good roaming potential with this champion, and she's just a super safe pick because of your ultimate, so she's a really good pick in the mid lane for this patch. And then for Fizz right now, he's also kind of similar to Ahri in the sense that he does really well against these other meta picks in the mid lane. So someone like an Orianna or a Syndra, Fizz can do super well against, because against the Orianna, he can just use his E to dodge your shockwave. Against Syndra, he can use his E to dodge Syndra's ultimate. So there's just very easy ways that you can outplay your opponents when you are playing as Fizz. And you've got a load of burst damage in your kit too, which makes him a great pick against these mages that are skill shot reliant. Now down in the bot lane for this patch, the 3 most picked AD carries are Lucian, Caitlyn, and Ezreal. Now Lucian's win rate in Challenger right now is 64%, which is super crazy. Caitlyn's is 60%, and then Ezreal's is down at 48%, which isn't too much of a surprise because I think Ezreal is definitely one of the hardest AD carries to play well, and if you can't consistently be hitting your skill shots as the champion, then he isn't going to have as much impact on a game as someone like a Caitlyn or a Lucian is. But Lucian, with this build right now of Blade of the Ruined King into the Black Cleaver, it's doing extremely well on him in this patch. He's just super hard to kill with this build. If he ends up going Ninja Tabis as well and you're an AD team comp, then it's going to be super hard to kill him. He's going to pump out a load of burst damage, and if this champion gets ahead in the early game, then the game is pretty much over. Now for Caitlyn and Ezreal, I guess this could go for Lucian as well. They're just very safe picks overall. Caitlyn and Ezreal have very good laning phases. They have the potential to get a good lead going in the early game with their strong laning phases, and they do transition really nicely into the mid to late game too, because a lot of these meta champions right now, especially in the mid lane, are assassins. It is important for them to have gap closers and for them to be able to just kite out these champions and to not just get one shot in team fights. So for example, if the enemy team has like a super fed LeBlanc and you're playing someone like a Jinx in this patch, then if that LeBlanc gets onto you in a team fight, if you don't have your flash up, you're just gonna die right away. So by playing someone like a Caitlyn, Ez, or a Lucian, you're gonna have that potential to outplay someone like a LeBlanc. If you use your dash to dodge your chain or something, you can turn on her if you're fed and just burst her down. So overall, these 3 picks are very safe picks and also very strong picks in 7.7. And then for the support role in this patch, it's no surprise here that Karma and Lulu are 2 of the most picked support champions in 7.7. And then the 3rd and 4th most picked supports right now are Blitzcrank and then actually Fiddlesticks. So Fiddlesticks support, if you guys don't know, it kind of came up over the last few patches. It was played in the LCS, I think a few times now. And the main reason to why this can work at least okay is because Fiddlesticks did get a buff a few patches ago to where his fear range is now longer, and Fiddle's fear in the laning phase is just a very easy ability to get off on the opponent. So if your jungler is coming in for a gank, you just walk up on the enemy, fear them, you silence them, and if you have someone like a Gragas or an Elise ganking for you, they can flash Cocoon or flash Body Slam, and it's basically a guaranteed free kill there. Your E in the laning phase, if you can get like a few lucky bounces off, is actually going to do a load of damage too, so you do have the potential to poke down the enemy champions, and then you also have some cheeky sustain in your kit with your W, so if you do get poked out and you don't have any potions, then you can heal off of the minions and get back up to full HP. And then Fiddle is actually kind of similar to Lulu in the sense that he does have a really good ability at peeling off a dive champion or an assassin that's trying to get onto your AD carry. Lulu has her polymorph and then Fiddle has his fear. So if he's up against a champion like LeBlanc or Kassadin that wants to get onto his AD carry, he can just point and click a 2.25 second fear in a mid-game team fight. And if your team has at least a little bit of damage to follow up on that, then you should be able to burst down that LeBlanc or the Kassadin before they even get out of the Fiddle fear. So make sure that you are maxing that on Fiddle support. I wouldn't recommend like maxing your W or even maxing your E, because having that fear duration and having it like just a point and click really easy ability to use is going to help you out a lot for those team fights. So that is going to be all for this video, guys. Hopefully it did give you some insight onto what are some good picks to play in this patch if you are mains of these champions or if you can play them well. So with that being said, guys, thanks for watching, have an awesome day, and I will see you in my next video.